Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and this is Soft Flow Yoga. I'm going to show you how you can use tree pose as a meditative posture. Let's begin. That's right, tree pose, even though it's a balancing posture, it can be used as a meditative pose, mainly because it has the elements of meditation. We're going to start with that by sitting nice and tall. We'll get into some meditative elements that you can actually use in your tree pose. So go ahead and find a comfortable seat. I'm sitting on a nice soft blanket. You want to sit up nice and tall, lengthen spine, relax shoulders, and let's begin with a few deep breaths. Nice full breath in and exhale. This is the first part of our meditation. Creating a foundation for ourselves, and we use breath or pranayama, breath control. As we feel the breath and listen to the sound of the breath, it helps us to be fully present. In meditation, we're focusing and we're concentrating. Now, when we concentrate and focus, we're really dialing in and focusing or paying attention to one thing. First here, we're focusing or paying close attention to the breath. And in doing so, we let go of the things that are going on outside of us so we can pay closer attention to what's going on inside of us. It starts to remove those distractions outward. Focus, paying attention. And concentrating is just really putting our mind to it. I'm focusing on my breath, putting my mind to this awareness of the breathing sensation. In this case, feeling the breath rise, filling up the lungs, and the exhale. Let's add a very simple movement. As you inhale, extend your arms out and up, nice stretch. And exhale, extend the arms out and back down. Again, breathing in, reaching out and up. Feel the lengthening through the sides of your body. Exhale, and just continue to breathe and move at your own pace. We're still focusing on the feeling and the sound of the breath, concentrating that mindful awareness of breathing. And we've added some simple movement, aware of the body in motion, just seeing it as movement, aware of sensation, but not completely labeling it, and certainly not judging it. Good. Now, as we get into our tree pose, we'll do a few warm-up postures before we come to that balancing position. So not only physically is it a balancing position, standing on one foot, but I like to think of it as a hip opener, helps to lengthen the spine, strengthens the core. All right, finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. And as I mentioned, I like to see it also as a meditative process. Very good. Just come back to stillness. Return to the feeling and the sound of your breath. Changing postures here. Let's come to our hands and knees. You can use a blanket here for a little extra support for your hands and knees. Moving through cat and cow. So inhale, lifting head and heart, arching the back. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under, feel your belly button pull up towards your spine, the curvature of the back body, chin to chest. Inhale, this is cow, arching the back, creating the back bend, heart opens. Exhale, rounding it out, cat pose. Now, we're still paying close attention to the breathing, maintaining that solid foundation. And just as we were seated and moving the arms up and down, we were aware of the sensation of movement in the body. Pretty much the same here. Just the movement of the body. This wonderful undulation through the spine, the rocking of the pelvis, and the sensations that arise. Again, just aware, no judgment, just being the witness of what's going on inside of you. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. When you're complete, just return to stillness and the awareness of breath. Focus and concentrate. Move our pad out of the way. Let's move into a downward facing dog. From our tabletop posture, step your hands forward, spreading out your fingers pretty wide to get a nice stretch between each finger. Plant the palms, push into the floor to flatten and open the hands. And as you press into the earth, feel your arms get strong and straight. Tuck your toes under. Let's do another cat-cow flow. Inhale for cow. Exhale, cat. Hold cat pose. Lift your knees off the floor as you push into the ground with the hands. Send the hips into the air. Head and chest sink between the arms. Adjust your feet if you need to. Even adjust your hands. I like to keep a softness in the knees. That keeps the hips mobile so they can continue to rise upward, lengthening more through the torso. Pressing hands firmly into the mat, strong arms, downward facing dog. Let's go through a lunge. Pick up your right foot and extend the right leg back, reach. On the exhale, step right foot to the top of the mat, or allow it to land right behind the right hand or wrist. Turn your left heel to the floor behind you, shift your weight back so you have balance. Because we're doing a tree pose, it is a balancing pose. We start to establish that balance here. Less or no weight on the hands. Lift them so you can reach forward, rising up, hinging from the hips until we're in warrior 1. Good extension of the arms straight up, lunging down below. Let's hold here for a moment. Tree pose is a hip opener. We start that hip release in warrior 1. Nice hip flexor stretch right here. We'll continue that with warrior 2. So inhale, exhale, turning to your left, bring your arms down to parallel. Adjust your feet. Now I like to turn my foot out, which actually turns the leg out. I feel a little bit more opening, more spaciousness created here. Making sure your right knee and toes are pointing forward. There's our hip opener. Nice and tall through the torso. Extended arms. Warrior 2. Now, I'm focusing with my eyes out past my right hand. We have a name for that. It's called drishti or dristi. It means to gaze, to look, to focus. So many of our yoga postures have a focal point. Where are we looking while we're practicing some of our postures? So in Warrior 2, our drishti, or our focus, is out past this front hand. Okay, coming out of the pose, let's windmill, taking this left hand up and around and down to the floor in front. Rise up onto the tiptoes behind you. Press firmly into the mat with the hands, strong arms to support the upper body. So you can slide this right foot back, plank pose. Soften the knees, send your hips into the air. A nice return to downward facing dog. Adjust your feet and hands as you need to. Remember to keep your knees soft. Hips lifted, hands flat on the mat, strong arms. Other side. Picking up left foot, extend the left leg back. That's an inhale. Exhale, let's step left foot to the top of the mat, landing behind the left wrist. Turn right heel to the floor. Let's establish our balance and foundation, shifting the weight back into that foot so I can release the hands from the floor, reach forward, hinge from hips, and rise up. Hold here. Good extension, nice energy and effort as you reach towards the sky. Nice lunging here. Paying attention, aware. Focus and concentrate on the sensations in your body. In addition to your breathing, I'm feeling this nice stretch and release in the right hip flexor. Inhale. Exhale, opening to Warrior Two by turning to your right. Arms come down to parallel. To establish greater release, I like to turn this right foot out. It's an outer rotation of that leg. Again, just like the first side, a little bit more opening in the hips. Checking in, nice strong straight leg. In the back, left knee lunging, bent, knee and toes pointing forward. Nice long, tall torso. Even tuck in the pelvis under a little bit. Straight arms parallel to the floor. And remembering our drishti point, out past left hand in this case. Focus. So once you've established your pose, come back to breath. Sometimes, especially in a pose like this, in a classical style of practicing yoga, we would hold a pose for about 5 breaths. Coming out of the posture, let's take this right hand up and around and down to the floor in front. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Push firmly into the mat with both hands. Slide left foot back, plank pose. Let's bring knees to the floor. Sit back briefly into hero. Sit off to the side, swing the legs around to the front. Keep the legs straight here. Let's flex the feet, keeping the legs straight and strong as best as you can. You can certainly bend the knees if you need to. Place your hands on the mat right by your hips. Push down to help establish a lengthened spine. Maybe roll the shoulders back, and as you're able, squeezing shoulder blades together behind you. Breathing, nice long neck. We always come back to that foundation, breathing. Our drishti is just forward. Still preparing for our tree pose. So let's do, while we're sitting here on the floor, Janu Shirshasana, which means head to knee pose. We're just going to build this up a little bit. First, just bend the left knee in this case. Left foot coming to the inner right leg, if you can, to the inner thigh. It's okay if the knee does not come to the floor. If it doesn't, you might just place a prop like a rolled up rolled up blanket or a block underneath. And the right leg in this case is straight. We're going to stay nice and tall. We'll take a mild forward fold. Okay, Janu Shirshasana, or head to knee pose. It is more of a forward fold, but we're going to keep this mild for now. Nice strong straight legs. We get a nice hamstring stretch. Hip opener on the other side here. Focus is out past the big toe. Come back to breath. Focus. Concentrate. Breathing. Drishti point. 5 breaths in total here. Rising back up. Now before we get to the other side, let's add a core posture. I'm going to bring this left knee up, step this left heel forward, drag the right heel to meet the other. So I'm here, adjust my seat, holding onto the backs of the legs, sitting up nice and tall initially, but then start to lean back just a little bit, adding a little bit of tension in the core body. Now, we're really making a connection with our abdominal system. That's helping us with strength, control of our postures. It also helps us with balance. Helps us also just to hold in stillness in some poses, but also gives us support as we move from pose to pose. So this is Navasana, or boat pose, but a nice variation of the posture. And of course, there's still breath. We inhale, feel the breath rise, fill up the lungs. And this exhale, we're going to draw the belly button or pull the belly button in towards spine, feeling that nice contraction of the abdominal muscles, that sense of strength here. Now, I like doing this version, not leaning back too far, with a straight back, keeping heels on the floor with knees bent and holding on, because it allows me to sit here longer. Otherwise, I'd get too tired too quickly. So this is helping us to establish that strength, control that is going to help us with our balancing pose. Let's take one more breath. And you can start to soften and relax. Straighten both legs again, sit up tall, come back to staff pose. That's the name of this posture, or Dandasana. And we'll get ready for Janu Shirshasana once again. Keeping the left leg straight, we'll bend the right knee. If you are able, placing the foot on the inner thigh. You can slide it down a little bit lower if you need to. Adjusting the seat, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale. Exhale. You can start to lean forward or hinge forward at the hips a little bit if that feels good. I like it because it adds a little bit of a stretch in the back, a little bit more tension, but not too much in this straight left leg. Helps to open up the hip on the other side. Coming back to our foundation of breath, feeling the breath, listening to the sound of the breath, concentrating, focusing. Focus is forward past the big toe. 5 breaths in total. We're going to practice Navasana or boat pose one more time. So go ahead and hinge your way back up. We'll lift this right knee, slide that heel forward, keeping the knee bent. Drag the left heel in to match the other. Adjust your seat if you need to. Feet are flexed just to keep the legs strong. Hold on. Beneath the bent knees, lift up. Inhale. Exhale, lean back, not too far so we can hold a little bit longer. Inhale, fill the lungs. You can exhale through the mouth. Feel the air leave the belly and the engaged sensation in your core abdominal muscles. Focus is forward. Actually, it's slightly up because the farther back you lean, you want to keep the neck in alignment with the rest of the body, the rest of the spine. So your gaze might be somewhat up, like up here. 2 more breaths. Good. I'm just rising up, softening the body a little bit. I'm going to swing the legs back behind me, return to our tabletop posture, cat-cow. Just a few movements through the spine and hips just to maintain that nice mobility. We'll move into down dog, making our way up to a standing posture. All right, here's our down dog. I'm stepping the hands forward, spreading out the fingers, lean into the flat palms, strong straight arms, tuck toes. One more, cat-cow. Hold cat. Lift knees and hips into the air, head and chest sink between the arms. Soft knees, strong straight arms, head between the arms. Let's take a few steps forward to the center of the mat or until your feet are flat on the mat, and just slide your fingertips towards your toes. You'll be in forward fold for a moment. We're going to slide the hands up to the shins or knees, extending or lifting halfway up, extending the spine. I'm going to make sure your feet feel solid on the floor. You can keep a good bend in the knees so the legs feel strong. Focus, drishti, is directly down, keeping a nice long neck. Finishing our standing process, shifting weight into the heels. Bend your knees to lower your hips, maybe hands to thighs. Press into the thighs while the heels drive into the earth, standing tall. We'll continue standing or getting taller by reaching both arms into the air. Inhale, and exhale, arms down to your side. All right, so we made it to standing. We're going to go right into tree pose. Now for tree pose, we're going to hold it for a bit of time, so feel free to use another prop. You can use a wall. I'm going to use a wall, but maybe you're standing next to a table or a chair. Use something like that to help you maintain your balance. Alrighty, so I'm going to step over here a little closer to the wall. And remember, we're just applying what we've already done in these other poses to tree pose, feeling and experiencing the meditative process in tree pose. Here we go. Alrighty, I'm going to mirror you, so we're going to soften the knees, shift your weight into your left foot, Inhale, get nice and tall, fill your lungs. Exhale, draw belly button in towards spine, just like in boat pose. I'm going to pick up the right foot, flexing the foot, bending the knee so I'm at 90 degrees. This is where you can start holding on to your object. Here, the wall for me, so I can maintain the balance. Here's the hip opener. Just like our Janushirshasana, the knee just swings open, making sure your hips stay square facing forward. And then placing foot on the inner thigh if you're able. If you can't reach that high with the foot, you can bring it down a little lower. This is where I typically practice tree pose, is having the foot below the knee, right around the calf. Nice and tall, still breathing in, filling up the lungs. Exhale, drawing belly in, engaging the core. That's what's going to help me balance. Finishing the pose by extending the right arm up into the air. And then lastly, I'm focusing. I'm focusing on something across the room. Now, if you have nothing in front of you, like a blank white wall, for example, you might just drop your eyes, not your head. Okay, keep the head lengthened, nice and tall. Just drop your eyes down a little bit. Maybe there's something on the floor that you can focus on. Focus, concentration, feeling of the breath, listening to the sound of the breath. These are the main elements of our meditative piece. And we happen to be in this pose. Focusing, drishti, gazing or focusing with our eyes on something out in front of us. Meanwhile, the body is at work. We're having a hip opener, nice extension through the right side of the body with this arm in the air. Nice, strong, straight standing leg. Core engagement. Alrighty, let's go ahead and bring this hand down. I'm going to swing this knee forward, lifting knee, flexed foot. Plant the foot into the earth. Rebalance on 2 feet. I like to take both arms up into the air just to establish realignment through the entire body. Exhale, arms down to your side. Maybe just shake that loose. Just kind of letting all that go. Any distractions that may have shown up in the body, we just let it go. It is now in the past. And then we can focus again on the present moment. That's meditation. Let's do the other side. I'm going to turn around. Soft knees. Now you're shifting weight into your right foot. Inhale, get nice and tall. Exhale, draw belly button in. Picking up left foot. I'm going to use the wall here. Thighs parallel to the floor. Flexing the foot just keeps that leg strong. I'm swinging the knee out until it naturally stops, being sure the hips still are facing forward, and placing foot on inner thigh above the knee or below the knee. Try to not place the foot on the knee joint. So either above or below. Let's extend the left arm up into the air, and there we are. Now, since I'm looking right at a wall, I'm just going to drop my eyes a little bit so I can have something to focus on. But I'm also concentrating on the breathing. The inhale, maybe getting a little longer, more established in the pose. Exhaling, drawing belly button in towards spine. I can notice the sensations of the hip opening, this arm extension. Staying completely present. This is meditation. This is how you can practice meditation even in tree pose. You can really establish and experience this in just about any pose you practice. 2 more breaths. When you're complete, you can go ahead and bring this arm back down. We'll swing this knee to face forward. Plant the foot into the ground. Rebalance on 2 feet. Extend both arms up into the air. And exhale, arms down to your side. Very good. Let's just make our way down to the earth, return to seated, and finish with a seated meditation. Inhale, reaching out and up. Exhale, spread your wings, sit back into the imaginary chair. Going slowly, you might place hands on thighs and then slide down the legs to your forward fold. Nice release of head, neck, and shoulders through that curved spine. That feels good. Inhale, rise up halfway to a flat back. My gaze is directly down. Exhale, fold, bending the knees enough to place the hands on the mat. Strong hands, strong arms. Stepping back, here's plank pose, just to establish some strength. And then come to seated. First, coming to knees. Sit back briefly in hero, off to the side. So I can bring the legs around to the front and return to seated. Nice and tall, lengthen spine, relax shoulders. This is how we began our practice. So come back to meditation. You can keep eyes opened and just focus forward or downward. That's our drishti. Concentrate and focus on the sound and the feeling of the breath, keeping you internally grounded, letting go of the external distractions, staying here. Focusing on one thing. Now, to complete our practice, simply extend your arms out and up with an inhale. As you exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Take another breath. Now you're welcome to stay just like this and continue your meditation, or we'll finish our practice together here. Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.